Hey guys, it's Lexi and welcome back to my channel. Let me just begin this by saying, I promise I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. I just thought I talk about my 5-star reads so much, it's only fair if I talk about my not 5-star reads so much. So I'm going to be going through everything up until now that I've given 3 stars or less to and just give a little synopsis about why I felt that way. This is not me bashing these authors or the stories. I just personally did not feel connected to the work, but that doesn't mean someone else isn't going to feel the same way. Half of these authors that I've given low reviews to, I will be buying their next books as soon as they are released still. So do with that juxtaposition what you will. Everything that got 3 stars or less, the first one is The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden. This is the 3rd one in her series that is being turned into a movie with Amanda Seyfried and that other girl. Anyways, it's the 3rd one in the book. I gave this one 2 stars because to me it just felt like it made no sense. Or rather, it just felt unnecessary. There were a lot of things that happened that were either very predictable or our character made the wrong choice or just thought the most absolute wrong thing, and you're like, how could you even jump to that thought? Do you know what I'm saying? You know how when you're reading a character and they're like, oh, he's looking at me because he hates me. He actually wants me to fall off a cliff. And it's like so blatantly obvious that that guy's in love with her and yada yada. That's what this felt like, and it was kind of frustrating. Not that the writing was bad, I just did not feel like this lived up to the hype of the rest of her series, which is unfortunately like a trend in these kinds of books, so tuck that in your back pocket and carry on. Next one is Heartless by Elsie Silver, part of the Chestnut Springs series, and it's the 2nd one. I gave 3 stars to. I do really like her series. I just finished the 3rd one, Powerless. However, all the men in the books, because you get different POVs like every other chapter, they all feel the same to me. And I think there's not a lot of differentiation between them, and when Elsie writes their thoughts and their point of view, she just uses a lot of vulgar terms and a lot of cussing. I promise not every guy cusses and uses just like the most foul language possible when they're thinking or when they're looking at their girl or looking at a man that dared look at their girl, you know? So that's a little frustrating when every book I read that. I remember reading Powerless, which is the 3rd one I just finished, and it was recounting these other men we've met in the other books, and I was like, I could not tell you anything about them. Their names sound familiar, but all I know is they're big aggressive men. So that's why it got a low score. It didn't stick out to me. I got a text right as I was saying that. Moving on to One by One by Frida McFadden, which I gave 3 stars to at the time. To be honest, right now I probably would have given it more of like a 2.5. It's not that the writing is bad, let me just say that, because I love Frida. I love her books, but to me this plot just felt so predictable and so obvious and not at all a thriller. For me, if something's a suspense thriller mystery, I need to not even be able to guess what happens next. I need there to be twists and turns, and this did not hit any of those notes for me. It kind of felt like an indie horror movie's plotline. It wasn't interesting to me. I still finished it and I still love Frida. I just think this work was not her favorite, and it was one of her older books, so like I definitely give her that. She has grown so much as an author, but if you want to try out one of her books, which I highly recommend you do, don't start out with One by One. That's my opinion. Next is by Miss Frida, but keep in mind, I gave a lot of my 5-star reads this year to her too. So like, she's an amazing author. But Ward D, I gave 3 stars to. The storyline was fun and it was interesting, but being trapped in a psychiatric ward all night and not being able to escape, and somebody in this unit is a murderer, made no sense to me. I get it, maybe you don't remember the code, or the lock is jammed, or the power went out, or your phone lost service. Hospitals are not built the way that she described it, and it just felt so unrealistic when our main character is trying to escape or find a way out, contact somebody. I'm just thinking, there's no way any of this is ever possible. But yeah, it is a fiction, so obviously, I mean, I don't know, I just thought way too hard about it and that's my problem. So if you want a good read where you don't need to think too hard about the plot holes, Ward D is good. But if you're the type of person who's gonna psychoanalyze everything and be like, that's not even reasonable, maybe don't pick it up. Okay, my next one, I'm sorry, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. It only got 3 stars from me. I think it's kind of a popular consensus too amongst some people. It just felt like a filler book between 2 and 4. It felt very unnecessary, and it's so big for like so little to happen. And of course towards the end where all the action happens, we get some random POVs from side characters who have 2 lines throughout the whole book. I don't know, I would have rather had either those taken out or just something more interesting put in it. I think I was just kind of bored with the book. Not that it was bad, it just wasn't interesting to me. I'm just waiting for the fourth one to come out because the third one was kind of a letdown for the Fourth Wing series. Anyways, I'm sorry if that hurt somebody's feelings. I do still love Fourth Wing. They're displayed on one of my shelves somewhere. My next low rating is The Crash by Frida McFadden. I gave it 3 stars, and it is one of her newer releases this year. It's just, it kind of felt like a cash grab to me. It felt very rushed and not as nuanced or creative. The plot was just a little predictable. It was still good. Like, I did enjoy 80% of the story. There were some parts of it that really annoyed me and made me irritated. So not that it was bad, it just didn't feel like it was something from one of her newer works, because as more and more books come out from her, I feel like she really grows into herself as an author, and this one just kind of reminded me of her older works. So yeah, I just wasn't connected to it. The next one is The X by Frida. This is one of her older works. It came out in like 2018, 2019. I gave 3 stars too. It kind of feels more like a 2.5. Let me say, it's not a bad story. Like, she's not a bad author. I just did not connect with the story. It didn't make any sense to me, or it just felt way too predictable and confusing. And a lot of the build up to certain situations, like each sentence our character is thinking, I just hope he doesn't discover this secret. And then the secret is revealed at the end and you're like, really? That there's no way that we had all this build up for that. It just kind of felt like a letdown at some points. So for me, it was not my cup of tea. That's why I kind of graded it so harshly. But for other people who are maybe just getting into the thriller mystery aspect, I think this is a great starter book. It's just I was looking for more intensity and more jaw-dropping reveals, and I didn't really get that from this one. The last book that I gave less than 4 stars to is Powerless by Elsie Silver, which is in her Chestnut Springs series. It's the 3rd one. Like I've said with this one, a lot of the men's POVs, they all just feel the same. And I was getting kind of frustrated when I knew I would turn the chapter and be in our guy's perspective, and like within the first 2 sentences, he's gonna cuss because he can't express a thought without saying something provocative, which is fine if that's your personality, but not every guy's personality should be that, and that's what it kind of felt like. So I was just a little frustrated with that. With that being said, I'm still buying the rest of the series, and the same for all these books that I just don't feel very connected to. I still enjoy the authors. I think if an author was really bad at writing per se, or they don't produce good literature, I wouldn't even give it 2 stars. It would be 1 or no star, you know? I kind of grade based off of if I connect to it, if I feel like it's worth a read, if it felt predictable to me. While Frida McFadden is probably my most read author this year, or maybe to date, she also has the most 5-star books for me, which is why I keep picking up her work, because some authors' works may be hit or miss, you know? Like right now, I am reading Summer in the City by Alex Astor, and she wrote the Lightlark series. Some people really did not like the Lightlark series. They were not into it. And she's stepping out of her comfort zone by releasing a romance, and I'm reading this, and I think while I prefer Alex Astor as a fantasy author, I'm still going to support her work and read this, even though I may not be as connected to this as I was to her other collections. That's just how it goes for me. Anyways, this was just my short little way of explaining my thoughts and why some of my books may not be as highly rated as others. With that in mind, on Goodreads, I do put my reviews down explaining why I thought the way I did, why I graded the way I did. They may be a little harsh, but when it comes to that app, I don't beat around the bush. I just get straight to the point. So if I wasn't really feeling it, you're gonna know. I think only having 1 or 2 2-star reads so far this year is amazing. That means I'm having a really good reading year, and I'm definitely on track to hit 100 books. Anyways, that is all for today's video. I just want to go read this now. It's been sitting in my lap this whole time. It's important to reflect on books we don't love and books we do love. They all deserve attention, even if the attention is angry attention. Anyways, I just wanted to reflect on books that I did not necessarily love as much as the ones that I talk about all the time, because maybe it's something I don't like, but it's actually something you really like, you know? But with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.